Hi, this is Chip.
I'm Christiana.
And today we're going to be talking about our recent trip to Kyoto and Osaka, Japan. The main airport in Osaka is Kansai Airport, and it's very conveniently located to both the train station and to hotels that are easy walking distance to both the airport and the train station. After we got off the plane, I was looking for our hotel, and it was at that point that I realized that the hotel I had booked was actually near Osaka Airport, not Kansai Airport. It was about an hour and a half away, so we made new reservations for our hotel in one of the close hotels. The airport and the train station are, as I said, very convenient. The train station ticket office is right there in this sort of open atrium area next to the airport. Some film of the ticket office, and they apparently don't like to be filmed, so I had to shut the camera off. The transportation in Japan is just super efficient. And an example of that is the train from Kansai Airport to Kyoto. The boarding process is super orderly. The trains sort of reconfigure.
The chairs all rotate. It's almost like the teacups ride in Disneyland.
The train ride from Kansai into Osaka is kind of neat because Kansai's on an island, so you go across this channel between the two, between Kansai and Osaka. It's about 45 minutes. You get in there pretty quickly into the Kyoto train station, which is another example of these big train stations which have lots of shopping. They're super modern. Find your way around and figure out which train you're on. And we found that the information desks are super helpful and can point you in the right direction. So we got on the subway and headed up to Sanjo subway station, which was about a 5-minute walk to our hotel, which is located across this really picturesque river in Kyoto. As you can see here, very pedestrian friendly, and a lot of people just come down there for lunch or after work and just kind of relax by the riverside. It's really lovely. On the first day, we took a subway to the Fushimi Inari Shrine. This is known for hundreds, if not thousands, of these orange columns, these hundreds of steps, and you get to the top there, and there's a very picturesque view of the whole Kyoto area. It takes a while. It's a pretty good hike, but it's definitely worth the effort.
I would suggest going early in the morning because we were there in September and it was unseasonably warm. But it's a beautiful shrine and it's a nice hike, and you do have a nice payoff at the end of a beautiful view of Kyoto region. I highly recommend this.
The next place we went to was the Imperial Palace. Kyoto used to be the capital of Japan, and so there's this large Imperial Palace complex. I'm sure somebody who is more well versed in classical Japanese history would appreciate it more. From our perspective, it was a bunch of sort of austere buildings set amongst these big gravel lots, and the most picturesque area is the Japanese gardens with the little bridges and the little forests and stuff. They're really pretty, but they're completely inaccessible. They've got guards there to kind of make sure that you don't go over the little ropes there. So all in all, I mean, it was interesting, but it was kind of, I think some of the nuances were lost on me anyway. Our hotel was the Cross Hotel, and it was located very near what's called the Sanjo Mitingai, I'm probably not pronouncing it right, shopping district. And this was an extensive area with sort of open air atriums, again, sort of like the train station.
Covered in glass, and so it felt very light and airy, very high ceilings. So you kind of felt like you were outside, but you were protected from the elements. And these were just very extensive, long hallways.
The contrast between the super tranquil beauty of the Japanese gardens and the temples and the kind of quiet solitude, and then you get into these shopping areas And the drugstores and the department stores are just very garish, really bright, really loud, just kind of bombard your senses with
Neon and bright and
loud.
a dichotomy between
Yeah.
that and the peaceful shrines. We bought one thing on our trip, and that was this little bowl at the mall we were just talking about, a little brass bowl to hold our Balinese frangipane or plumeria.
Yes, and this is a rare
Very rare.
six-petaled. You see these are probably like 1 in 100. You see them very...
Like a four-leaf clover
Yes.
in Bali.
The next day we took the subway to the Nanzenji Temple, and this is iconically known for this aqueduct that was built in 1890 and has provided water, and still to this day provides water to Kyoto from Lake Biwa. I really like this place because it's very quiet, not very crowded. The walking up through it, one of the places you can end up is this modest but picturesque Japanese graveyard, which is open, and we're the only ones up there. That whole area felt like kind of where we're from, Portland, Oregon area, lots of deciduous trees.
Kind of like Forest Park or Tryon Creek Park, if you're familiar with Oregon. It was very woodsy and quiet and just kind of calming until the bee.
Until the bee, there was a bee that
There was an incident with a
had
bee.
I've got a history with bees, and there was a bee that was along this one set of stairs that really found something intriguing about me and would not leave me alone. So I flew down the stairs. It was terrifying.
So that was the end of that.
As both of us are plant-based eaters.
Well, some of my favorite meals ever were in Kyoto. My favorite plant-based vegan meals. There was one place called Choice that had the vegan cheeses that are maybe cashew-based. We loved it so much we went there twice. It was two-trip worthy. And the last day we were in Kyoto, we went to a darling place called Bodo Cafe. Very authentic Japanese cuisine, but plant-based.
One thing that we had always wanted to do if we're going to go to Kyoto, Osaka area was to go to Nara Park, which is known for its population of free-roaming deer. And so we did head out there. It took about a 45-minute. Yeah, once you're at Nara Park, you'll find all these people selling these little bundles of
Deer crackers.
Yeah, deer sort of wafers for about $1.50 for 10, and so we both got one of those. And some of the deer are, I wouldn't say aggressive, but
Persistent.
But
They also are very sweet, and some of them have been taught to bow down with their forelegs, and they kind of put their head down. It's very sweet. Seemed like they were very, very content.
Sir.
He comes again, he's getting it. He can smell it. Oh, he can smell it.
Can he smell the fear?
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, this is your last one. Okay, there we go. That's all.
Our work here is done. Yes. You may gracefully bow out, sir.
Yes. Okay, good. I'm glad we don't have any crackers left.
Too much pressure.
Yes.
After the deer park, we headed back to the train station at Nara. And again, this is traditional of apparently of the Japanese train stations, as they seem to all be kind of hooked up with shopping areas. And then got on our train to the 45-minute trip back to Kyoto. The next day we headed to Osaka. It was Christiana's birthday, and we got a hotel that was located basically right in the Namba train station. And the reason I wanted to stay there is that there's a direct train line from Namba station to Kansai Airport.
We had an early flight the next morning.
We spent the evening walking along the river. It's the
Dotonbori? River?
Dotonbori.
It's a very lively river scene with boats and people and restaurants and bridges and sunset.
The next morning we got up pretty early, got our train.
Little did we know, rushing to the airport, that we need not have rushed because our plane was delayed by a couple of hours.
We got to cool our heels in one of the lounges there at the airport that we get. priority pass that one of our sons encouraged us to get the credit card that had that associated. So no better way to prepare for a long trip to Bali than a robotically poured beer. You can see here, it was a delight.
Overall, we were in Japan for just a few days, but we really enjoyed our time there and look forward to going back. So stay tuned. Our next trip will take us to Australia, our first time visiting Australia. We're going to Perth for Chip's Perth Day, and we look forward to sharing our experiences there with you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for viewing. See ya. All right. Ready?
Shiny face.
Makeup!
Makeup, stop. All right.
Big bee. Giant bee. Wow.
These bees aren't scary. They don't chase you.
No,
like
no,
bee
no.
in
That was
Japan.
a friendly bee.